welcome to anyone who is new. This is a channel that gives detailed descriptions and step-by-step solutions on a variety of important topics. Please subscribe to stay up to date with our videos and to keep learning something new. It really helps the channel and is completely free. Plus, it helps our channel make more videos frequently. Also, please comment down below if you have any questions or if you want me to cover a specific topic for my next video. Thank you, and let's start. This video's topic is going to be about multi-step equations. So the whole goal in solving these equations is to get x by itself. It is very helpful to do the addition and subtraction first, and then do the multiplication and division, so you don't have to deal with fractions. So before we get started, I just want to remind you guys to keep in mind of PEMDAS. So we will be using it because it's pretty helpful when solving equations. So just so you guys know what each of the letters stand for, the P stands for parentheses, the E stands for exponents, the M stands for multiplication, the D stands for division, A stands for addition, S stands for subtraction. So this is pretty helpful as we move forward in learning about equations, so just keep this in mind as we solve. So now let's get started. So when solving these equations, you have to remember to do the addition and subtraction first, and then the multiplication and division, because it will help you. So in this problem, if you divide by 2 on both sides, you will get nice numbers because everything is even, like the 6 and 8 are even. But that's not always the case, and that's why we do the addition and subtraction first, so you don't have to deal with ugly fractions. So let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 6 on both sides. This is because we can get rid of the 6 on the left-hand side, and we'll get 3x plus 4 equals, and then we'll do 8 plus 6, which is 14. Now, with that, we can divide by 2 on both sides. So we'll divide by 2 on both sides, and this gets canceled, and this turns into a 7. So because it's on both sides. So then you get 3x plus 4 equals 7. Then you can subtract 4 on both sides, and you get, let me bring it all the way up here, 3x equals 3. Then you can divide by 3 on both sides, and you finally get left with x equals 1, and that is the answer. So this is pretty easy if you think about it, because you just need to remember that you do the addition and subtraction first. It is a really helpful tip. So now let's go on. So now we have another example, and we'll just solve it like we normally do. So I'll wait a few seconds for you can pause it the video if you want. Okay, so now I'll show you how to solve this. So you can subtract 1 on both sides. Then you get 3, 6x minus 2 equals, because this cancels out and 31 minus 1 is 30. Then you divide by 3 on both sides to get these two canceling out, and 30 divided by 3, which is 10. So we'll have 6x minus 2 equals 10. You add 2 on both sides. I don't really need the parentheses, but I wrote them down. And you get 6x. These two cancel out. 10 plus 2, which is 12. And then you can divide by 6. And finally, you are left with x equals 2. Since these 6's cancel out, and you're left with 12 divided by 6, which is 2. So that is our answer. So now on example 3, we'll solve it. It's a little different, so let's see if we can figure out what's different about this one. So we have negative x minus 2 equals x plus 4. So before we solve this, you have to remember that there is actually a negative 1 here. So we can forget that and write negative 1. This will help you because you're going to distribute it to the x and to the negative 2. You have to remember this negative sign. That's why you can write it as negative 1, because some people make the mistake where they do negative x minus 2, but that is incorrect because it goes to both numbers. And so you're left with negative x plus 2. So negative x plus 2. And that is equal to x plus 4. Then what we're going to do is we're going to subtract x on both sides. And we're left with negative 2x equals, and then we can take this on this side by subtracting it on both sides, and we get negative 2x equals 2. Then we are finally left with x is equal to negative 1. And that is our answer. Now there's a way you can check if this is correct, and I use this if I ever am iffy about my answer, even though I solved it nicely. So the way you can check is you can rewrite the equation. Then you can substitute the x for the answer you got. So I got it for negative 1. You can substitute it inside of the equation. So we can write negative 1 on the outside, and we substitute it with negative 1 minus 2 equals negative 1 plus 4. So what we can do is we can figure out if this works. So we'll do the inside of the parentheses because of PEMDAS. And we get negative 1 times negative 3 equals, and then we can rearrange the numbers using our properties that I had in that I showed you guys in a previous video, and we can reorganize it as 4 minus 1 to make it easier for you. And then negative 1 times 3, because you have to distribute it, or you just multiply together, and you get 3 equals 4 minus 1, that's 3. And it works because they are equal to each other, and you know this answer is correct. So now we have another example, and we're going to have to use the same concept. Now, I incorporated these type of problems inside because I see these mistakes. These are very common, and I've noticed them. because people don't distribute it to both numbers, they just distribute it to the x, which can cause so many errors. So we're left with negative x plus 2, because you're distributing it to the 2, and negative negative makes a positive, minus 5 equals negative x minus 3. So we can put this in parentheses if that's easier for you to visualize it. Then we can, because these can't add together, you can subtract the 5 from the 2, and you get negative x minus 3 equals negative x minus 3. Then you can add 3 on both sides, and you're left with negative x equals negative x. Then you can add x on both sides, and when you're left with 0 equals 0. Now what does that mean? That means that for this problem, all real numbers can be x, because it, like, no matter what you put in for x, you'll get 0 equals 0. And the symbol for all real numbers is like 2 lines and then an R. So this is what you get as your answer. You will write either the R symbol or all real numbers. It depends on your teacher. So that is all for this topic. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new, or had a nice refresher on this topic. If this helped, please subscribe and like the video for more. Thank you, and have an amazing day.